Hey, this is Jordan Belfort, the real Wolf of Wall Street, and you're listening to The Anthony Rogers Show.
Welcome back to the greatest show in the universe. We have returning guest Neal Pollack, writer, Jeopardy champion, other things. How are you doing, man?
I'm okay. I'm keeping my distance from everybody, even though I don't want to.
Yeah, we're actually in the studio right now. We're 8 feet apart because we don't trust the 6 feet apart thing.
Yeah, more like 8,000 feet apart.
Yeah, he's actually on the phone. I'm a liar. You can say anything on a podcast, it turns out.
Yeah, I'm in Texas.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, whatever, man. You're in Missouri. It's not like you get to claim some great prize of a place. And, every place is exactly the same right now. That's what that is like. The sort of the most interesting aspect of the COVID era is that no one gets to brag about their place being any more awesome than any other place because every place is horrible.
I feel like I'd say that if I was from Texas too.
Yeah, although I went to Colorado this summer. We went up there for a couple of weeks, and it was better not having anything to do in Colorado because at least you could go for a walk in the mountains, and that that's not really an option where I live. So I prefer that sort of place. Although that sort of place is very often on fire these days too. But if the nature-based places aren't on fire, they're sort of the places to be right now.
What is Colorado like for a man that doesn't smoke marijuana or doesn't eat edibles, doesn't do any of that anymore? Is it still entertaining, or you have the Rockies?
Well,
I guess.
I mean, I like to walk along the lake or in the trees. I could go for the hikes. I still drink beer, so there's lots of good beer. It was fine. I mean, it was a little wistful, crossing the we drove and crossing the border, and as soon as you cross over from New Mexico, there's all these dispensaries, and it's and I felt a little pang of regret that I couldn't just stop and pick up a pack of Chiba Chews, or whatever, bag or something. But you get over it. I mean, I'd rather be. I don't know. I'm happy being sober, so my life is better. Although I miss the Dodge. It was fun getting high a lot. Sometimes.
I feel
until I would have until I would have my psychotic meltdowns periodically, and then it wasn't so fun, and then I had to deal with lots of shame and repercussions. So I went to Colorado, and I wasn't stoned, but I also didn't have any psychotic meltdowns. So it's a trade-off.
Well, that's good. So you enjoyed the lake walks and the beer?
Yeah, I did. We went to Rocky Mountain National Park.
Nice.
It was cool. You had to get a reservation. It was at 60% capacity, but I think we were on the side that didn't have that many people. We were it took a 6-hour hike and saw maybe 6 other people the whole time. So that was pretty pleasant. I would like more of that in my life, but this is not available where I live in Austin. Technically there's hiking, but it's 1,000 degrees outside. The hikes are crowded and kind of ugly, and it's just not. I don't like it, so I don't do it.
Well, that's good. What do you do in Austin right now with everything going on?
Freaking nothing, man. I mean, the only thing that Austin, what does Austin have to offer itself? It has festivals and live music and really good movie culture and all that, but pretty much all of that is closed, right? So it's just a bunch of takeout restaurants and people and all the bars are closed and boarded up with Black Lives Matter slogans painted on the boards, and people I know are still kind of going around pretending it's an actual place, but it's not. Getting all these emails saying, virtual concert, virtual film series, virtual this, virtual that. I'm like, virtually no way am I going to do any of that shit. I will. It's if I can't go do stuff live, what's the point? I'm just gonna stay at home and watch sports. read books. I'm not gonna, life is supposed to be experienced for real. And so it's just kind of a place that like depends on culture for its meaning is really in deep crap right now. And Austin is just like not the same at all.
You picked the worst time on earth to quit smoking weed, probably. Like,
or the best. I mean, otherwise I would have just been like home stoned with, like around my family for 6 months.
Fair. I guess that's real.
It's probably the best time, honestly, because Jesus, the paranoia is bad enough right now. Like, are they going to come burn down my neighborhood next? Or Jesus, am I going to? It's like how much longer am I going to have to stay socially distant from my neighbor? It's not like I mind staying socially distant from my neighbor. It means I don't have to actually talk to them. But it's like it's like the paranoia was bad enough. Like, is the virus? Especially like those first few weeks where like people didn't really have a good picture of what was going on, and it really did seem like everyone was going to start dropping dead in the streets. Imagine being high during that, I would have completely lost my mind.
Everybody I know and love's already dead. The plague killed them.
Oh, you're out of people, huh?
Yeah, you're the last person I know on Facebook that's still alive. So I was just that's why I was reaching out for you for this podcast because
that's why I've been on. That's why I've been on 3 times. Yeah. I'm just like the last podcast guest. I'm like the guy. I'm like Matt Damon in that Steven Soderbergh movie. Like, for some reason I didn't get it, and I have to like walk around protecting my kid from all the plague zombies. No, it's like it's just kind of this. Now it's just kind of it's just kind of everything is retreated into this kind of dullness where everyone's like, you shouldn't go to parties, or you shouldn't go to the movies, or you really shouldn't see your friends. And it's just I just feel like it's this constant tisk and whine, and it's just I'm freaking sick of it.
Yeah, so you're the last writer alive now. Like, also, it's kind of interesting. Everyone else, like all the other artists and entertainers, are dead now.
Yeah, that creates it creates problems. Although, like, apparently, it's funny you should say that because, like, on the occasions that I post on Facebook, like, people are still responding. So either they have these really sophisticated bot avatars that are doing their social media posting for them, or I just got super lucky or unlucky. Like, people are just like, every day people get more and more annoying on social media. I posted some stupid joke on Facebook a few weeks ago, and some guy who I didn't know pops in there and accuses me of being, what is he? I'll never forget this phrase. Right? He said, racist through glib misdirection, because I wasn't like being outraged enough by the Jacob Blake shooting.
I think that like people just sound like lame now in their insults because we can't say like fag or retarded anymore. So they like try to like be like wordy and basically just call you a fag. Like you can't just directly say that word anymore apparently because there's all these word police rules.
Frankly, I would have appreciated that more. It's like I'm sorry that I'm not like speaking in the exact social justice language of the week to satisfy you, and I'm sorry that I'm not like. That you think I'm somehow not contributing to the advancement of society by making, a joke about restaurants at this moment of great crisis when Kenosha, Wisconsin is on fire. And it's like, what am I supposed to do?
Just give me the cue cards, and I'll read it, and I'll say whatever you want, random person on the internet. we'll only use words you want me to use.
Okay. I'm like, all right, racism is bad.
Duh.
Okay.
Duh.
I disagree with racism. There. Are you happy now?
There you go.
Red internet person. The thing is, like, it's not the first person who's thrown that kind of shit at me, and I'm just like, I'm sorry that I'm being glib. I'm not trying to, and like, I'm not Mr. The idea that anything I say on Facebook is going to misdirect anyone is absurd. Now I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore about racism because this dipshit writer I follow on Facebook made a stupid joke.
Yeah, he must be in the KKK. He made a joke. Only Klans members make jokes in 2020.
Yeah. I'm definitely like a Jew in the KKK in 2020.
I didn't realize you're Jewish. I can't actually have you on the show anymore. I'm just joking.
Well, Anthony, me or a dead bird, it's like I'm the last. I'm one of the few survivors of the plague. It's like you, me, Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauci.
I guess the Rock got it but didn't die. So there's a few people.
We're survivors.
Apparently, like every professional athlete survives somehow. Tom Hanks. I'm just like, what are we doing here? I know that this is a serious illness, and I know that lots of people have died. But it's like, why won't they why can't we go to the movies? I don't get it. It's like, why won't they open movies? They're like, we pushed this movie back another 3 months. I'm like, so in 3 months, somehow, the plague is gonna be less deadly than it is now, and then then it's okay to go to the movies.
Yeah, it started off as like a week or two. It's like just stay home for a week or two. Everything's gonna be fine. And then now it's been like months. We wasted summer. I want a refund on my life. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna be like, I want one more fucking year because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I think we deserve it. It's like all right, yeah, it's like suddenly it's like, we still can't go see the Wonder Woman movie. We're gonna keep pushing that back. We're gonna delay that. There was like a Lin-Manuel Miranda movie that was supposed to come out with something like a musical in the Heights musical. That movie an entire year.
Yeah, you can't do anything. It's fucking weird. You can't in cities though. I mean, if I leave the city of St. Louis and I go to outside the city, you can eat in restaurants. You can do a lot of the country doesn't give a fuck, and I imagine Texas would probably be the same way. A lot of them just don't care.
Yeah, no, it's true. I live on the border of Austin and Williamson County, which is a complete red state county, and it's true. Williamson County poker rooms are open. You got the Saltgrass Steakhouse or whatever the parking lot is full. Catfish Parlor or whatever that place is. I mean. The problem is that all the stuff I like to do is in the city.
Right.
The live music, the movie theaters,
the restaurants.
So it's so you can't go into you can get the ramen, right? You can go and put on your mask and some ramen vampire will come out of the back of the ramen shop and place your ramen kit on a table, and you can take it home and assemble it yourself. You can't go into the restaurant and in the restaurant. And if you do, there can only be 2 tables, and then you're very nervous. So it's insane. And I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I edit this movie theater, this movie and book website called Book and Film Globe, and I'm paying pretty close attention to this, and I'm like. Movie theaters have been open around the world all year. Some places they never close. A lot of places have been open since May, and there hasn't been one single case of COVID attached to going to the movies anywhere. And yet, all we hear is how dangerous and horrible going to the movies is.
Dude, yeah, it's funny because in St. Louis, across the river, you have East St. Louis, in Illinois, basically, and you cross there, and I've heard my friends tell me that strip clubs are still open. So they have strip clubs open, but they don't have restaurants in St. Louis open. And it's just those people probably live in St. Louis, and they're going to strip clubs across there. And it's just and then I'll watch people wear masks and then hand each other shit and all this. It just doesn't add up or make sense or have a consistent narrative at all. And it's I don't know, the dumbest people in the world are going to outlive me or something is what they would want me to believe.
Yeah, well, there's also okay, you have to wear a mask when you're walking through the restaurant, but not when you're you don't have to when you're sitting and eating and drinking and opening your mouth and talking.
Yeah, and you could have people at your table. You could do all this. It just doesn't make. Yeah, I saw a bar like that the other day. The sign said that.
No, and it's you can't visit your grandma in the nursing home, but you can go to Costco. I mean, I had someone tell me, like, when I took, I went to see a couple of movies, because I had to review them, and also I was just kind of curious. And, like, I had someone say to me, Al, don't go be around old people for a few weeks. Just promise me you won't do that. I'm like, well, first of all, I am an old person, older than you. And second of all, I'm just like, what are you, like, I'm not a disease vector, you know? Give me a break.
Yeah, it's like
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like the condescending idiots are going to be the ones that survive. It makes no sense. And they like that cloth doesn't even make sense either to me personally. It's like I feel like the mucous membrane in your eyes contract, and then there's like at first it was like the mask is to help it not get it, and then after people were like, no, it's not. They're like, no, it's so that you don't spread it, and then it's like, no, like that doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't fucking make sense. And like I don't think that dirty cloth that no one washes and just wears over and over again is gonna fucking cure anything. It just doesn't, or deter it even. Like it just doesn't even make sense to me. It's like we're gonna stop AIDS by crashing the economy. That's basically what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just feel like there's this like weird kind of puritanism going on, like, and it's just kind of like there is a disease, and because of that, we cannot have any fun.
Yeah, it's like, can I just get the disease? Can I just get the fucking disease? Like, it sounds better. like I think the virus sounds better than how we're living right now.
It's just kind of like, it's almost like there's this attitude like we have to atone for our sins and it's interesting too, like a lot of this, like, I don't know, like you followed this bullshit story last week, like, I've been on a motorcycle once in my life and I was fucking terrified and I never want to do it again. But the Sturgis bike rally, right? Like the thing up in South Dakota, hundreds of thousands of people go there, and there was a story that came out that said that the Sturgis bike rally would have led to 250,000 cases of coronavirus and countless deaths. And it was just a complete farce. I mean, one guy who went to Sturgis has died of coronavirus. He was a dude in his 60s who had a lot of health conditions. It traced maybe a couple hundred cases, and it's, and I'm just like, and there's just a lot of finger pointing. It was like it was sort of the continuation of like, you can't go to the beach, you can't go to the movies, you can't go to a party, you can't go to the biker rally, you can't. It's just like, why not?
Yeah, like who's in charge? And the rules change like every day. Like, all right, no one fucking knew who Dr. Fauci was. Now he's like our overlord and overseer. He's like, well, here's what I think about viruses. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you think. Like, you're not an elected official. You have no fucking say. I just couldn't give a fuck less what he thinks about anything, really.
It's just bizarre, and just the whole setup is bizarre, and I think there's just this attitude that we don't deserve to be happy.
Yeah, we're just supposed to work all the time if we still have jobs. And then we're supposed to just fucking, like, do nothing. There's no release. Like you can't... Like, I don't know. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's like, this whole thing, like, there's not going to be football in the fall. There can't be football in the fall. We could possibly have football. And then all the football players are like, oh, no, there's going to be football. And then all the football fans are like, I would like football, please. And then what do you know? Suddenly there's football. And it's fine.
Yeah, Yeah, no, it makes... Yeah, and then they showed during the Spanish flu, like, people were, like, in the audiences watching it. I mean, they had masks on the ship, but, like, they're, like, still... They never did this. I don't think they've ever done this before. Like, I can't find a time in which they just didn't even do this. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. In America, at least. I've heard about, like, other countries, like the USSR and stuff. But I've never heard of, like, America doing this.
Canceling stuff.
Everything.
Stopping.
Yeah, everything.
Everything is canceled. Yeah, it's weird, It's like, there is a... The only equivalent maybe was like I think we talked about this the last time. I mean, like, or every time. I don't know. It all kind of blurs together. You're the only person I talked to besides my wife.
Yeah, you're the last person left. I mean, that's all I got. You're all I got.
Right. Well, my wife's still alive too, so I talked to her. At least I think she's alive. At least I think that's my wife. Maybe she's an android. Maybe maybe.
Well, it must be nice having people still, Neal. Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, there still are some people here in Texas. Because we're just much better at slowing the spread than you are. But
nothing else.
No, but like in 19, like I read this book I've had a lot of time to read during these months, and I read this book about the 1918-1919 Spanish flu pandemic, and they closed a lot. There were some shutdowns. There were some, they canceled parades, and there was some of this, some of that, and I tell you, they wore masks, and none of it worked. 700,000 Americans died. 150 million people died worldwide. That's a lot. And the population was a lot less than it is today. And and I read the book, and this author who wrote the book, basically came out at the end and he said the virus ran its course. Nothing anybody did worked. Nothing works to stop a virus. And then he wrote it, and I saw a few weeks later he wrote an editorial in the New York Times saying we all have to wear masks and keep our distance to stop the spread of the virus. I'm like, if somehow, what's different now?
Yeah, it's like, can I enjoy my last days if we're all dying? Like the whole planet's on fucking fire. Can I get some? Can I eat inside of a fucking restaurant? It's like, Jesus.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, I did. I ate inside of a restaurant. Have you eaten inside of a restaurant?
Not in St. Louis, but definitely throughout Missouri a bunch. Yeah, I had a buffet probably 2 weeks ago. It was open out in in rural Missouri.
I went with a guy to one of those conveyor belt sushi places.
You were telling me that, yeah. Like, it reminds me of that sushi train place. Like, so like,
yeah, like it wasn't a sushi train. It was like a sushi that goes around a conveyor belt. And there's like a special little if you order something fresh, they'll like jet something to your table. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. But it's like the idea of going out to a restaurant. You shouldn't have to feel like a fucking astronaut.
Yeah. It's like I'm the first man to eat here.
Like the most mundane human activities, like going to the gym, going to school, getting your hair cut. Like, and there are people who I can't, I can't tell certain people I know that I'm doing things because they're gonna, think I'm like they're gonna treat me like I'm some kind of mass murderer.
Well, good thing no one listens to podcasts, so no one will ever know that I ate a buffet and you ate a sushi.
Oh no, I'm not worried about it. That's why I do these interviews.
Yeah, there's no.
It's really like a therapy session, except your therapist is like you should do it like a really bad therapist.
That's fucking. That's so funny, dude. It's probably true. I mean, I probably would be a bad therapist. Like,
oh, you would be a very bad therapist. You wouldn't make people feel better.
I'd make money though. I'd be like, "Do you have any more money?" Like, how much money you got?
Yeah, you'd make money, but you would mostly like insult people. You'd be like a Stockholm syndrome kind of therapist.
Yeah, they're like, I'm depressed. I'm like, that's because your life sucks. Okay.
Yeah,
it's real advice though.
It's true enough. All right, so that's that. I could keep going. I could whine like this for hours.
No, I think we have like a 3-part. Like, we're doing like a 3-part episode of you complaining.
Of me complaining about being locked down when actually it's pretty obvious that I'm actually not locked down.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing whatever the fuck I want.
America.
With it's like I went to the movies. I saw Tenet. That fucking thing.
Should we talk?
They made this huge deal out of Tenet, the Christopher Nolan movie, and it's like this kind of spy thriller, except they can like move backwards in time, and it was just dark and kind of pretentious and really stilted dialogue. It felt like something, it felt like I imagine like watching it like I don't know, like back when I was younger, I would like travel around and like stay in like shitty hotels and youth hostels in foreign countries, and there'd always be like one kind of old TV in the corner, like playing some action movie but dubbed into Croatian or whatever, and it just felt like that. That felt like that kind of movie. Like it was really like just, the action. I guess the action was good, but it was just this kind of weird, stilted movie. And like this was the thing that was supposed to save cinema that we were waiting for, that they dared open up. And I was just like, oh my god.
I looked it up, and there's movie theaters playing this in St. Louis too. I just looked up when you're talking about it. I hadn't heard of the movie, so I wanted to read about it while you're talking about it. And like, yeah, it's actually in theaters. It's like everywhere, like here still, and it made like 200.
It's the only movie. Well, it's the only movie.
Is that the only one out?
What's that?
That's the only one out. I didn't know that.
They also opened something called The New Mutants, which is like the shitty X-Men knockoff that they've been delaying releasing for 2 years because it was apparently so bad and no one wanted to see it. And then they released that because they had nothing else to do with it. And then they also released this movie called Unhinged, which is like a revenge movie starring like Russell Crowe is in it, and he plays this really fat dude who's addicted to pills, and he's driving this truck around.
So he's playing himself?
Yeah, and like this woman who's having a bad day honks at him in traffic, and he like takes revenge on her and like chases her around, fucking kills everyone she knows, and like ruins her life.
Well, thanks for ruining the entire movie. There's only 3 movies in movie theaters right now. You just ruined all of them for me so far.
Yeah, that's one of the 3, and that was the first movie to open, other than like some independent horror movies or whatever. Like after the pandemic, that was the big one, and like I went to see that, and I was like, this is grim and horrible about like middle working class people like trying to kill each other. And I was like, well, it kind of actually felt pretty accurate for the time.
What about the Broken Hearts Gallery? Have you seen the Broken Hearts Gallery yet?
No, that opened. That Broken Hearts Gallery, that opened this weekend.
Yes, 3 movies. I looked it up and like it threw me off because you told me the limitation. I'm like, what? And I looked it up. There's actually only 3 movies in the theater, and that's the first time I've ever seen that in my life. Like I've never seen that. Like the place up the street from my house.
There's 3 movies, but then like there are a few theaters open around here, and they're always like all showing like Jaws and The Goonies and Back to the Future and like Raiders of the Lost Ark and like now that Halloween is coming up, they're starting to show some like vintage horror movies. I'm just kind of like, who the fuck is going to see Back to the Future at the Dollar Cinema down the street from me at like 2:00 on a Thursday?
Fucking
in 2020.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why are they even doing? Why are they even trying?
No, that's a weird business plan. And I look at movies like you're saying too, like and I look at like the theater up the street from my house, the Mulan Theater. Like there's an article from like April 22nd. It goes, Mulan Theater closes permanently, pandemic, and then and then there's movies playing there right now. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like
what movies are playing there? So
the 3 you said, the 3 we talked about: Tenet, Broken Hearts Gallery, and Unhinged. The 3 we're talking about. That's all. It's in any theater. I was looking it up.
But they're not showing because it's a 3-screener. It's a 3-screen theater, right?
No, it's a bigger place with couches and shit. It's a nice place. I've never seen only 3 movies played there, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's all there is. I mean, I guess they could show New Mutants or whatever, but there's just not a lot. There's, they just refuse to release movies.
That's insane. It's like, no comic book movies even? At least the pandemic got rid of comic book movies.
There's tons of movies that are just waiting there. There's a whole list of there was a whole summer's worth of movies that's just kind of like they're just kind of like in some kind of they're in this permanent. They're in like they're cryogenically frozen. You know? Yeah,
they're gonna release a movie super out of touch.
What do they call it in the Marvel? When the Odin sleep. That's what Anthony Hopkins goes into in the Thor movies when he's waiting to like it's like this permanent state of sleeping, and they're just waiting for like
the permission from Fauci.
They're just waiting for us to no longer be afraid of the virus anymore.
Dude, yeah.
And I'm like, and then we can go see James Bond.
Yeah, that's weird. Did you see Dr. Fauci's first pitch at a baseball game?
The what?
The first pitch by Fauci, like he threw a couple months ago. He like threw a first pitch at the Washington game.
Oh yeah, he threw out the first pitch at the Nationals game.
Dude, did you see that?
Yeah, that was literally the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, yeah, that was so fucking bad. And like, there's like a side-by-side video too of like Trump doing it and him doing it. Trump like lands in a fucking helicopter and throws the ball across the fucking plate, and Fauci comes in with like all cocked looking and throws it like to the like all the left or right or whatever fucking whichever way you wanted to throw it. I guess I don't know, anywhere with the plate.
Yeah, it was. I think that was like a perfect metaphor for the time. You know, that was another thing too. It's like, you know, they're like, there's not going to be baseball. They can't get it done. You know, man, like literally, they're like. You know, they're 2 weeks away from the playoffs, and they played this whole season. There were these teams that, like, you know, the Miami Marlins, the entire team tested positive for coronavirus, pretty much. And they, like, canceled their season for 2 weeks, and now they're going to make the playoffs. You know, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't count
it. These are healthy. You know, I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get any of this.
I don't count it as a championship. Like I don't count any of them as a championship. They didn't play a real season.
I will only count it as a championship if the Dodgers win.
See, that's where I'm at with the Blues. Like in hockey, and they already got knocked out. So I was like, "Fuck this." I was like, "It doesn't count."
Yeah, but at least you got to sit and watch a hockey match for like 2 or 3 hours.
It was
right?
kind of passionless though. Without the crowd's all the energy, I think, and without the crowd, it kind of sucked. Honestly, I couldn't even pay attention to it really.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's better than nothing, though.
Off.
It is better than nothing.
That's right. There's still something going on. I don't know. Like I've been watching baseball. It's like it's pretty good. You know, the basketball. Some of the basketball was pretty good. I watched the football. It was pretty good. You know.
Are you from LA? Is that why you like the Dodgers, or where are you from? Really?
No, I grew up in Phoenix, and but I'm old, and so there were no Diamondbacks when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, that was a '90s thing.
So the Dodgers were the team on the radio.
Okay.
So I grew up listening to Vince Scully, and so
Is it weird that the Cardinals are so much better than the Dodgers, or does that bother you at all?
What, the Cardinals are not better than the Dodgers.
Why do they have way more championships? Wouldn't a championship determine who's better?
No, the Cardinals are not a superior franchise to the Dodgers in any way. There are some years where the Cardinals are better than the Dodgers, just by the law of averages.
I'd say most of them. I'd say most seasons.
No, that's not true. In fact, we actually have live cardinal birds in our backyard, and when I see them, my wife has to stop me from going outside. I want to kill them like I'm a dog. I want to tear them to shreds.
Is it because they have 11 championships and the Dodgers only have 6?
The Dodgers is that true?
I think so. I'll look it up just to make sure. I thought the Dodgers had 6.
Yeah, but I bet you the Dodgers have lost more World Series than the Cardinals.
Well, yeah, but that's not the plan though. You're supposed to win them.
Well, all I know is that by the time
1, 2,
that's going to even out. It's going to even out.
8, 9, 10, 11. You're like one day, whenever the Dodgers get 5 more championships, they'll tie the Cardinals.
Right. So 5 years from now.
That's why I like talking shit to you. You always got to you stand your ground. You got something. That's actually funny as fuck.
I refuse to admit any team is better than the Dodgers.
See, that's what I deal with the Yankees, because people can use the same argument on the Yankees. The Yankees actually have more championships than the Cardinals, but no other team. So it's pretty much any other team I can make fun of it, except for the Yankees.
You can't root for the Yankees.
Fuck the Yankees. Fuck the Yankees.
Yeah, fuck the Yankees. Exactly. So,
well, you can't cuss on the show, Neal. You can't cuss on the show. We have censors.
Right. Well, here's the thing: we can actually but the thing is, we can actually have a sports conversation. There were a couple of months there where it was there'll never be sports again.
Yeah, there was a saying when I was a kid that they could take away anything except for beer and baseball, and they did take away that, and it still worked, and nobody rebelled. I was just what? I always thought that would be the thing, that would be the breaking point.
What, if they took away beer and baseball?
Yeah, I feel like everybody would rebel if that was the thing.
Well,
in theory, but it didn't work.
They didn't even think about taking away beer. They're like, oh no, you can just keep drinking.
Yeah, I guess there was beer still.
Cocktails. You keep getting kicked out. That's kind of what should have been your first hint that this was not an entirely serious situation. when everyone was like, oh yeah, I'm getting takeout margaritas. I'm like, really? I don't think they were getting takeout margaritas during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. No, they were fighting World War I and dying in great numbers. They weren't getting takeout hurricanes.
Takeout hurricanes, yeah. That's the only way. Yeah, no, that is weird. I mean, the things that were allowed to be open were fucking weird, and it made no sense. And we all had to follow these rules that no one really knew who did it. So you couldn't even yell at the clerk or something. You couldn't be what the fuck are you saying? Because they're just trying to get paid. So it just nothing made sense, and you couldn't even voice it to anybody. Can I talk to whoever told you this is what's going on? And you talk to that guy. You're like,
right.
who told you this? Can we just follow this all the way up, and punch that guy in the fucking face? I don't know.
It's totally arbitrary, and 6 feet of distance is totally arbitrary. It could be more, could be 12, could be less, could be, it's completely arbitrary.
Man, I thought I hated going places and hanging out with people until they're don't. And I'm like, now I'm only going to do that. It's just the rebellious nature. I don't know.
Have you been going places and hanging out with people?
Allegedly. Yeah, definitely. I was the whole time. I didn't believe that shit from the day it started. I don't believe any of that shit. And he could.
I've had people over to my backyard and stuff, but I haven't I just haven't gotten anybody who wants to do anything with me. It's I try to get my trivia team together, There's like trivia quiz, and like somebody from the team was like, but how can we confer about answers if we have to sit 6 feet apart? I'm like, we don't have to sit 6 feet apart.
We were getting so
we don't have to.
We were getting so fucked up in like lockdown, and then we had to go outside to smoke cigarettes. And my town's like, we had to like smoke cigarettes, like and act like we believed it while we're outside like smoking cigarettes. Like everybody just telling us like we're Anne Frank or something. Like I just remember that we had to like go out like 2 or 3 at a time, so it looked like we didn't have a bunch of people here. We're like, oh yeah, I gotta. And we're like, we believe this too. We're scared. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Disney, the Las Vegas Strip has been open since May. Disney World has been open since June. People aren't dying because of that. So if Las Vegas, I mean, well, not like Las Vegas is 100% open, but there's still like stuff going on. You know, there's people playing slots and whatever, you know, and people are going to Disney World, and yeah, it's a reduced capacity, whatever. But it's like, if that shit is going on, then what are we doing? Why can't there be a band at the bar?
Yeah. It's like,
singing.
I don't know.
They say, like, singing. Public singing is one of the worst things you can do, Anthony. Public singing.
You're in the band, right? You're in the Neal Pollack experience, or what was the band?
I mean, in a band. Sure. I have released some albums. I have performed in rock clubs with musicians, but I wouldn't say, like, I'm actively in a band.
Well, that's a very honest opinion. But I make fun of a lot of people that actually have done less, probably. And like they'll be like, "I'm in a band." I'm like, "No, you're a LARPer." Like, but no, I actually agree that I mean, you actually release it. You can look your stuff up. I think anyone who releases music at least half-ass counts.
No, I like if you Googled my name on Spotify, songs would appear.
And our 2 other interviews. Well, now 3 if you're listening to this now.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, now it's just going to be a long series of podcasts in the future.
of us just complaining. Like, you mostly complaining and me just laughing. Like, basically the whole time.
Me be like, I'm not free. And, like, meanwhile, I'm just describing all this, completely, like, banal leisure activity that I'm constantly doing. Like, engaging in all my stupid fucking hobbies all the time.
And somebody will find something wrong with one of the things we said, and I'll hear about it on Twitter. They're like, you said fag and retard, or like, you did this, or like, you said mask, you eat food. And it's like, they'll find something we said, like, and just get pissed about it, cry about it, and like, self-promote their followers.
I wrote a review of Tenet for the website that I edit, and like...
What's the website again for the listeners?
Book and Film Globe. And like... I just made some stupid joke about maybe how maybe they could have used the time traveling device to go put the virus back in the bat in Wuhan.
That's fucking hilarious, dude. That's fucking hilarious. Actually, that's funny as shit.
It's not a bad joke.
That's funny. That's a good fucking joke.
It's like a kind of like a joke I'd maybe like if I was auditioning to like write jokes for Bill Maher or something. I could send them that, right? And then somebody sent a comment in saying, you sound awfully Trumpy when you're saying that. And I'm like, but I'm not. Like, it's a historical fact that the virus came from China. It's like I'm not trying to be Trumpy. I'm just making a joke about bats. And then they were like, and besides, you shouldn't be going to movies because you never know. Like, you might be asymptomatic and you might be infecting people. I'm like, God damn it! People just lost their fucking minds.
Dude, Thomas Jefferson would have shot him on the lawn. He just would have fucking shot him. I feel like it's just like these people make no sense. They're just crying about everything. They're like, I feel like they just hate themselves. They don't actually hate you or the Trump or anybody. Like they hate people they've never met. Like, it makes no sense. They're like, I don't like how he sounded in this media clip, so I don't like him as a person. And like they think they know how people are that they've never met, and it's just projecting. They're just projecting their insecurities on other people. They probably do dumb shit that they think is putting people in jeopardy, so they push it off on you. In my opinion, I think that's how people are. It's like
I don't know. I just get annoyed. I get annoyed when it's like none of this is my fault. It's like I feel like we should be free to associate how we choose to associate. We should be able to do whatever the fuck we want. You know?
No, I agree. It's America, and like you should. If you want to make it worse, try running as a Republican while a pandemic's going on. if you want people to.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about that. Actually, like, so are you an actual Republican, or is this like just kind of fucking troll job that you're pulling?
That's hilarious. That's a very common question, but no, it's I definitely lean Republican for sure, but I definitely use the party just to get there faster. If I ran independent, I'd get like 300 votes. So I definitely just back my district more so than anything. So it's like more about what the people here want than anything. But had I ran independent, yeah, I'd get like 300 votes. So I'm trying to win this, So I was like, what's the best way to win this?
Right. So if by running Republican, you were actually able to get,
60,000 more votes. I'll get 60,000 more votes.
There's some people who won't vote independent. All right. So, but that's kind of what I thought. Because you're far and away not a traditional Republican, right? So it's like, but another question too is like, you're not going to win, right?
No.
I know you would serve if you won, but I mean it's got to be a heavily Democratic district.
Yeah, but I think I'm doing
like a serious underdog.
Yeah, a serious underdog for sure. But I think I'll win still. I've been doing kind of some unconventional ideas and stuff like that, and not being a traditional Republican definitely helps as well. I think like just talking to people, and I'm calling this lady Alex so bad on Twitter and shit, and she just like I might even talk about her on the show, but yeah, no, I troll her on Twitter a bunch. But I think that my approach is a lot different. I'm like handing business cards out, just talking to people and like telling them they're like, what are you about? I'm like, well, what are you about? I represent you. What do you want me to do? And kind of just taking that angle, and I got a lot of good ideas and stuff from people, and I'm kind of got a feeling of the district and stuff, and I think that hits people way more than just yelling at them. And the lady I'm against like burns down buildings and a bunch of dumb shit. She's a moron basically. So it's not like what happened here is a protester beat the incumbent on the Democratic fucking ticket, and then like the Democratic Party split right now. So I'm trying to get those other 68,000 votes basically, and then I get a base of like 60,000 votes just for being Republican. So I'm trying to do that, and then like take all those disgruntled Democrats out.
So who are you trying to tap into? Like, are you trying to tap into like the disaffect? Because you're saying the person who got the Democratic nomination is like a far lefty type thing.
Yeah,
right?
A radical left more so. Like
radical left, and so you're trying to siphon off like disgruntled center voters,
libertarians, moderates, disgruntled Democrats. Yeah, definitely, and it's working pretty well. I mean, people. I mean, I'm just talking to people basically. But if we're looking statistically,
are you going door to door? Are you like setting up at the pick and save? And what the fuck? Where are you doing this?
I basically for the primary, I just shut the fuck up and let the other person ruin her campaign. That's basically what I did. I pretty much just did nothing, and then she just like said like George Floyd was like a deep fake or something, whatever that even means. And everybody got mad, and like I'm not really even emotional about it. Like she just like ruined her entire campaign off that, and everybody voted for me. So
all you had to do to win the primary was not be completely racist
and not talk. He's like I'm already not racist, but like I just didn't talk because like I just talk shit all the time. So it's just natural. My mom, I feel like I get it from my mom. Me and her just talk shit all the time. So it's like I feel like I just shut the fuck up for like weeks on end, and only talk to my personal Facebook that like nobody follows. So I didn't talk on Twitter with all the followers or Instagram with all the followers or anything like that. I just literally shut the fuck up.
And you actually won.
Yeah, I won the primary by 22% or something fucking awesome.
So like, I mean, I know you have to say you're going to win. Like, honestly, like, what do you think the odds are that you're actually going to like be a congressman?
If you look at the stats of what you're saying, basically, because you are saying it's a heavy Democratic area and stuff like that, pretty much if it's based off that entirely and nothing I do works, I would lose by 75% probably. If I would get like 20% of the vote. But the thing is like I'm not running the traditional campaign, and I think I have a serious shot. And I think just me pointing out her flaws and stuff like that. I think she thought she was going up against she didn't have a plan for winning her primary. She's done this several times. So basically she didn't have a plan for November, I don't think. And she only focused on the incumbent and has no idea who I am or anything like that. And I'm basically just
there's actually like a chance you could actually be a congressman.
Yeah,
in January.
So maybe for your like 5th or 6th interview, I'll be in Congress by then.
Are you ready for that?
Fuck yeah, no. It's like, I mean, in March when you sign up, you sign that piece of paper and then you freak the fuck out and you do homework until you understand what you're doing. And I did a little bit of that before, but then you put yourself in a situation. I'm like, holy shit! And I already felt everything you're asking me like months ago, and I had to fucking basically do my homework and find out what. Before you sign up, you're like, what does a congressman even fucking do? I mean, you got to start there. I know loosely, but I had to literally see what they did. They schedule all this shit. I had to figure it out. I had to figure out this easiest way to win on top of that.
And it's just wild because it's like you're not running to be like a city council member or like a like a state representative or whatever. You're running to be like a United States congressman.
No, no doubt. In the same room as Pelosi.
There's not that many people, it's like, I mean, it's insane. I mean, has the local media done any stories on this?
Not the only gateway pundit as far as St. Louis, but people are picking it up. Like, but they think she's already won, so she's already like celebrating and shit. Like she's not even really campaigning because like she's just celebrating and thinks she already won. It's like really sad and weird. And like she's just like crying on TV, like, "Oh, we did it." I'm like, "Yes, you won your primary, but now you have an opponent you know nothing about." Game on. You know what I mean? And it's like it's kind of interesting.
It's a bizarre and inspiring story,
Well, maybe you can write a book about it one day.
As far as I can tell, you're like a beardo comic who like wears sleeveless T-shirts.
I'm not even saying that's untrue. I can't deny that to you.
No, I mean it's a fact, and like there's been lots of stuff in the media, about how people are like unusual types are like running for Congress, and if you don't, I wouldn't say like you're exactly like what the Republican Party considers like its dream candidate.
The St. Louis Republican Party also is not as like corporate backed. They don't really back me at anything really, to be honest with you. So I pretty much been doing everything myself. Even reaching out to Roger Stone, I got Roger Stone's endorsement, but like that was me just reaching out to him. Like that wasn't like
you got an endorsement from Roger Stone?
Yeah, I got hella endorsements. I got porn stars endorsing me, a bunch of shit like that. It's working pretty fucking well. Libertarians endorsing me, all that shit like that.
The libertarians make sense, but so I mean, I don't know, man. I guess it's exciting.
I guess it's exciting. That's hilarious.
Well, let me know if you're going to have a budget. Let me know if you want me to be press secretary.
No, I'll keep it dead. If you need a job out there, bro, just for fun. I mean, you're already probably retired anyway, so if you want a fucking job out there, I'm definitely interested in, I'll show you around the Capitol at the very least. I'm not moving to Missouri, though. No,
my wife went to college in St. Louis, but I'm not moving there.
You went to college here?
No, my wife did.
Oh, where'd she go?
She went to Washington University.
Oh, wow, the best college. Cool. Good for her.
Yeah, she's a smart lady.
Why she has bad taste in men? I'm just joking.
Well, shit, man. This is I know it's kind of a. I don't know. I think it's a really funny story myself.
I think we did both like we had 2-part interview. Like you bitched about stuff and then interviewed me. Like this is.
Well, no, I mean, what you're doing is way more interesting than me. I'm just like a schmuck who's complaining that he can't go to the movies.
Well, I think everybody's is important, but before we talk for 9 more fucking hours, I got a couple more guests. You want to throw out any social media or any fucking thing like the website you write for?
Yeah, Book and Film Globe, www.bookandfilmglobe.com, and movie reviews, book reviews, TV stuff. We talk about issues, and it's like the same basic tone. I don't do all the writing, but it's the same basic tone as the interview. And I'd say people should check that out. And it's like not super woke, so you might actually you're not going to get preached at too much. And then also I have this book Pothead, which everyone should read and buy first and then read it. You can also get it from the library, but you should buy it. It's cheap. And that's about it.
Cool. And then
I'm not really trying to sell anything. I'm just looking for stuff, ways to kill time.
No doubt. No, you're like I don't even need the money, but just buy it because it's the right thing to do. And Jeopardy.
Yeah. You got to support the arts in America.
Yeah, that's the only thing left. And also, Neal Pollack is also Jeopardy champion. Also, so Google that and watch his Jeopardy episodes. We're gonna get on.
And Jeopardy's back on the air too, like they were the original episodes.
We'll hit them up.
Started on Monday. Yeah, they've been taping them out. You know the pandemic isn't that serious. It didn't kill Alex for that.
He's a fucking robot.
The dude has stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
Ooh, God
bless. And it didn't kill him.
That's...
And the pandemic. It's like it brought down Chadwick Boseman, but it couldn't get Trebek. It's just wild.